Hi everyone and welcome to another Flosstube video, to Flosstube number 42. This week I have stitched. I have so much stitching done, so many stitches done this week. It is insane. But before we get into that, I want to say, if you're a returning viewer, thank you so much for coming back. It warms my heart that you want to spend some time with me. And if you're new here, hi, my name is Marika. I live in Stockholm, Sweden with my boyfriend and my two cats, and this is a channel mostly about cross stitching. Hope you will enjoy the content here and will stick with me. If you do, hit that subscribe button, ring that bell. If you like this video, please thumbs it up, it means a lot to me, and comment down below with any questions, comments, anything. I love seeing your comments and I try to answer all of them. But yes, hi! So this week I've gotten a lot stitched because I've been homesick from work, because migraines. As a very quick rundown, I have a lot of chronic ailments. One of them is chronic migraines. There is something in my body that is triggering my migraines constantly. Since 2018 I've been treated with Botox, and since like 2019, 2020 I have been treated with first Aimovig and now Ayovi? Yes, Ayovi. And together those medications means that I have very few migraine days at all. However, my Botox treatment was supposed to be on the 6th. I had a cold on the 6th, a really bad cold. They didn't want me to come in, so they postponed me, and I ended up not coming in until the 18th. That is 1.5 weeks after my scheduled appointment. I've been having a 11-week appointment. That is the lowest appointment that you can get, the lowest period in between Botox treatments you can get. I've had that for a long time because that is what helps my migraines. So being that I haven't gotten my treatment in time, my migraine decided to really be angry with the Botox, which is the way it does. So I've been basically with a splitting migraine headache for the whole week. The only thing I can do when I have a splitting migraine is cross stitch. I am a very project driven person, a very productive person. I like doing things all time, every day, all the time. That's just how my personality works. So if I can't do anything, I get depressed and tired and all of those things. So I try to find things I can do, and cross stitching works great. So I've been cross stitching, and I think I had the biggest day, I had like 2,400 stitches done in a day. It's a lot of stitches, but it's also a lot of hours. It's between 12 and 14 hours almost every day this week. So even though I've done a lot of stitches, it's because I've also been sitting a lot of time, and my back is starting to be angry with me, but hey, that's okay. Anyhow, let's get into the stitching. Let's just pass the migraine and go into the stitching, because that is what we are here for. Stitching is fun. So I have 2 salves and I have 2 whips that I worked on this week, because it's only a week since you met me. A little note, I stitched this week, I've stitched 12,058 stitches. Yeah, that's more than many people get in a month. Just because I've stitched from morning to evening. I go up at 6 o'clock in the morning and I go to bed 8:30 at 9 in the evening, and I've basically been sitting all day except for going out and having food and making sure to go up and move like every hour or 5 minutes, just to not get too stuck in my body. Anyhow, the first start and finish is a sal from Michelle over at Bendy Stitches. That sal is the hashtag Starry Moth sal, which is a design from the October 2023 Just Cross Stitch magazine. The design is by Janine McGowan. I should have looked her first name up. I think it's Janine. She's the Blue Flower, so you can find her both on Instagram and on YouTube as the Blue Flower. She's a marvelous designer. She designed the Starry Moth. The sale started the 15th. My migraine made me forget, so I started the 18th and I finished it the 19th. Yeah, I stitched like a lot of stitches, because this is 3,600 stitches. It's a big design. It's a big design. This is shirted to be on a 40 count 2/2, no, 1/2 on a 40 count, and she had this beautiful lavender linen that she stitched it on. Gorgeous fabric. So when I went in to look for fabric, I'm like, okay, maybe I should go like 1/1 on a 25 count or something like that. I do have potato, which I just been longing to stitch on that. That is a Lugana, 25 count Lugana potato with like a natural feel of it. It's gorgeous. But when I went to my piles of fabric to pull out potato, this was on top. This is a big piece. It's a big piece of fabric. This is from Chromatic Alchemy, and this is a second piece. If you can see here in the bottom, you can see that the mottling kind of just disappeared. So it is a second piece, but I like doing smalls. So for me, when I purchase it, I'm like, I don't mind that. It is a 14 count, not a 40 count, a 14 count. So the design ended up being a lot bigger, but I did it 2/1 on the 14 count. With the DMC, the sharded DMC, and it looks gorgeous. It looks gorgeous. It does have some speciality stitches. You can see here the eyelets, and then you have some stars. But yeah, it was super fun to stitch. I just couldn't put it down. I just stitched and stitched and stitched. It was a blast. I loved it. I am stitching in a different way at the moment, and that seems to help with my joy of stitching. I'm gonna go into that with my last whip. But yes, again, to show it off for a final time, that's upside down. This is the Starry Moth. It's gorgeous. So I'm super happy to have finished that. That took me 2 days because I stitched. I had a day of the most stitches done ever, and that was 2,400 stitches. So before I've stitched up to 2,000 stitches before. That was on one of my Heaven and Earth, and basically it was the same color all day every day. So I had that as my kind of mark, and this is 2,400 stitches with thread changes, which is fascinating. Anyhow, I have another start and finish. This is a mill hill kit because I hadn't done my September Santa. I do mill hill kits. I'm hosting the hashtag Mill Hill Santa Sale 2023 hashtag over on Instagram, over here. I don't know, Instagram is changing hashtags, so if you are joining, please also tag me. It would be awesome just tag me so I can see your beautiful projects that you're working on. So the sale basically is work on any Mill Hill Santa or gnome in 2023. Reasons because both Santa and gnomes is because they are the same word in Swedish, which is tomte. So I myself has a goal of doing one Santa and gnome throughout every month. So I have 12 finishes at the end of the year, and I hadn't started my September one, so I picked it up, I started it, and I finished it. Here you go. This is the Good Morning Santa. Christmas Giving Santa, sorry. It's Christmas Giving Santa from the Christmas Day Santas, and it is so cool. It is so cool. I really like him because, like, it's a reindeer. He has a reindeer on his shirt. You must love him for that. It was really fun to stitch. I actually made a separate like fabric for using in my frame. That really helped with stitching. Usually these Santas take me between 3 and 4 days. It took me 2 days to finish this with all the beading and everything. But yeah, he's gorgeous. He's super cute. And also, that is almost the color of my cat, Gizmo, my big cat. So it was super fun. Enjoyed it thoroughly. If you liked him and you want to pick him up, you can find them in my store. The Craft a Bit shop over on Etsy, linked in the description. So yeah, so that was my starts and finishes. I do have 2 whips though. So the first whip I'm going to show you is what I did before I worked on the Starry Moth, and that was to finish off a little bit of my gamer look. When I showed this last time, I think I had a diagonal that started here and went down, so there is so much stitching done on that one. Super fun to do. I really love it. I did travel a little bit more. I talked about it last time that I was going just in like vertical lines, one stitch at a time. This time I did do the vertical lines, but I did it over a bigger area, just so that I could stay with the thread longer, and that actually helps with speeding up the stitches. You don't have to re-thread the thread all the time when I worked in a wider band, and it was super fun. I don't know when it's gonna come out again, but I really want to work on it all the time, but I have other projects. So after I done putting that over there, hopefully I don't drop anything more. When I done the Starry Moth and I done my Santa, while I was stitching on my Santa, or while I was stitching on the Stitchy Moth, I realized I have a whole bunch of projects that I really need to get a little bit into. Works in progress that I haven't touched in a while. And I knew I needed to do the Santa before I jumped into them, and then I realized I had 3 clues left on the Castle Homecoming. The next clue comes up, the 6th clue comes out in October, but I had done 1 and 2. So I had a goal. The goal was to, well, I'm gonna do at least 1 clue, maybe 2. I made 2.5. And I'm gonna continue. I might actually finish the last clue, the clue 5, this evening. So yeah, this is the Castle Homecoming. This is stitched on a 16 count Valor by Picture the Plus. It is the kit fabric, so I bought the kit. I got everything, threads and everything in it. However, I'm working from stash. That is how I do it. I buy the kit and get all of the DMCs, and then I pick out all the DMCs from my own colors, and I kind of put the kit threads into my skein stash instead. But yeah, here it is. So when I had it out last time, I had done these 3, let's see, these 3 here and the bridge below. So clue 3 is the dragon and the cute little knight that is, look at this, he is roasting marshmallows on the fire from the dragon. The dragon itself is just so dorkily adorable. I love it. I love it. I'm really having so much fun with this. The clue number 4 is Nessie. See if I can get this to zoom, not on my face, but actually on the project. I'm gonna drop it down a little bit, like that. You have the bottom where you have Nessie. That frog is just completely adorable. It is adorable. That is probably my favorite part of the project. That little frog. Right now, that is my favorite part of the project. But clue 4 was also all of the grass and the water. So you went all the way from here to there. So that was clue 4, and I finished that yesterday evening. And then we have clue 5. Clue 5 is over here. So you have a gate here in the castle, and then you get a little queen, and then it's a little banner on top. So that is the main part of that clue. And this is where I'm gonna start talking about my new way of stitching, or anyhow. Here's the thing, when I started stitching on a gamer, I talked about it last week, I went from doing rows to doing 1 stitch at a time, and realizing, at least when I work on gamer, 1 stitch at a time give me a much more even fabric, basically, when you stitch. and that one is on 25 count with 2/1 cross stitch, and that is a lot of crosses. So that's a lot of fabric, and I figured out that stitching one stitch at a time make a very nice fabric. Usually I stitch in rows when I stitch on my normal pieces, but I thought with the Starry Moth I would try stitching one stitch at a time diagonally, and that is what I've done complete with this. So I basically just go on the diagonal, I go down and then I go up and then I go down and then I go up. So I make one stitch and then I hop to the next one that is one step down and one to the side, so really diagonal. This, if you can cross your thread in such a way that you still get those, you still are very economical with your thread. I think you can see it on my back side here. You see it, it's not as good, but this back side, but you see the diagonals on the back side on these pieces. And because I'm working in the diagonals, I'm also don't need to count as long. Like for example, for this piece, if I had done rows, I would have needed to count all of these stitches and then go back. Count all of these stitches, or like the first row at least, I would need to count to make sure that I have it right, and then it might not be right. But when I work in diagonals and you work on that row, whether you're working downwards or at the side, you're still just working in your diagonal. So it's 4, 5, maybe 6 stitches, not more. So somehow that means that my eye don't travel over the pattern as much. I'm very much more zoomed in on one specific piece, which makes everything go faster somehow. I don't know. It does. It does. So, but not only does it go a little bit faster, it's also more enjoyable. Like when I stitched the bottom here, this part of the castle, yeah, it's part of the castle. It's basically the moat, or the bridge over the moat. When I stitched that, I stitched back and forth. It doesn't actually, you can't see a difference in the stitches, which I kind of like, but I stitched back and forth, and I really did not enjoy doing that part of the project. Like I just wanted to the little cute characters, and all of that fill-in was just so boring. Now when I'm just stitching in diagonal, I don't mind the fill-in. I like the fill-in, which is a completely new feeling for me, because I've always gone for projects that doesn't have a lot of fill-in because I don't really enjoy the fill-in. I just want to go to the next part. But with the diagonal stitches, everything comes together a whole different way. And I'm starting to enjoy the fill-in. Like, I enjoyed the grass. This is a lot of grass. I enjoyed it. It was super fun. I'm really enjoying stitching 3 tones of grey in the castle. Yeah, it's insane. I don't know why, I don't know how, but yeah, it has been so much fun to stitch. And I think I really needed that. My migraine is finally kind of starting to dissipate. I noticed that I talk a little bit faster, I have a little bit more energy, so I will be back at work on Monday, so I will most definitely have less stitching next week. But I had a lot of stitching this week, and I really enjoyed it. So, goals. Let's jump to goals now that we've gone through all of that. My goals for the stitches in the next couple of weeks. I've looked at a lot of Flosstube in the past few days because that has been going on in the background. Sometimes I've had the capacity to like comment and stuff. Sometimes I just like the video and take the next video, because sometimes that is all you have energy for. But I've seen a lot. And I was watching Lala D Stitches. She's energy ball. Love her. Love her. She's awesome. And she was like talking about her fall stitching and her Halloween stitching. And I realized I don't really have any Halloween stitching right now, and I'm not that sad about it. I have a bunch of Mill kits, small Mill kits that I want to do, but maybe not just right now. But I also realized I don't have any really fall stitching. I do have like a Cozy Cafe by Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery that I have started on, which is one of those projects I need to get back to, but I'm not sure that I want to do that right now. However, there is a couple of designs in the Just Cross Stitch magazine that might be, even though they are on the bigger side, they might be happening. So fall, really feeling that. But also, today, I became an auntie. This is the first time I'm becoming auntie on my brother's side. I am an aunt. My sister has a son who's 18. It's just insane. But my little brother just had his baby, his daughter. I'm just so happy for him. He is so happy, so I am so happy for him. But that also means that I want to do more knitting for her, and I also want to do a cross stitch project, like a bigger, like you know, birth sampler of some kind. So that might be something that I will be looking into also. So those are kind of the plans. There might be a full lantern, or it might be some baby stitching. We'll see. First of all, I want to finish the clue for the Castle Homecoming, because then I am all on track, which would feel so great. That's one less whip to worry about, because I can't do anything until the next clue comes out. So yeah, that's all of my stitching. I have a little note on my organization. I am going to show you this room one day. Like this part of the room, which you don't see, is just like tables and bookcases full with different kind of craft supplies. But I talked about it last week that I had some cards coming, some paper cards for like poster boards that is the size of comics to put my fabric on, and they arrived this week. Also, I had some little plastic clips coming that I put one at the top and one at the bottom to hold the fabric onto the card. So they also come, and yesterday evening, or yesterday, yeah, midday, I folded fabric up on those cards and realized that I had bought 100 of them, and I thought that that would be well enough for all my quilt fabrics. Nah, not even close. So I have another 200 of those cards coming and 200 clips. But this should show the bookcase so far. It is looking so nice. I am really looking forward to getting the rest of the fabric in order, so I just have easier time to get the fabrics. Also, I got back my sewing machine from the service after the lights had broken. And good news and bad news. Good news is they could fix it for now and it should be working. Bad news is it is a 20-year-old sewing machine. It is a digital sewing machine, which means it has a computer inside, and the kind of card where everything is on, all the little components is on, is getting worn down. There is no replacements. So I can use my sewing machine for some period of time, but I am going to need to buy a new one, and that is going to cost me a lot of money, because there are things with this sewing machine. So the sewing machine I bought it when my sister and mother had a sewing machine store, or more, when they closed their sewing machine store. And when they closed their sewing machine store, they had a demo X that they have demoed things on during the time that they owned the company, the store. And I could buy that for a very reduced price, basically 25% of the original price. This was an embroidery machine and sewing machine, so it's a combination embroidery and sewing machine from Husqvarna, and that is the brand that I'm looking at right now, because I have all of the little feet and everything for this machine, and the new machine that I'm looking at can use all of those, so I don't have to repurchase a lot of things. It's just the machine itself that I'm gonna need to repurchase. So I'm looking at that because I want to, that is one of the reasons. Another reason is that because it was a very high-end sewing machine, the embroidery thing doesn't work anymore because of how the technology was done. It isn't compatible with today's computers. The software isn't compatible. Nothing of those kinds are compatible anymore. So I've used it just as a sewing machine. It has some features that are on the high-end side on how I can control like the needle and the foot just from just tapping multiple times on the lever on the floor. So there's a lot of those kind of things. Lots of things that I use very, very much that I would really, really miss with an old machine. So I am going to try to find the money to buy a new machine. And that is gonna be, yeah. I had plans what I'm gonna do with my money, and now it seems like I need to buy a new sewing machine. So that is a little bit annoying, but the machine is back, so I should be able to sew some bags. However, probably not this week. Yeah, life. Well, like when you're supposed to work a full-time job and you have a store, that's a little bit complex. But there is a couple of things in my store. If you wait 2 seconds. Well, 2 seconds, one and a half. So I still have a bunch of this kind of knitting bags in the store. This is my own one. This is my own one, so that it's full with cat hair is just because it's my own one. I'm not selling this to anyone. All of the things are held in like closed things, so the cats can't get into them and everything. There might be a stray cat hair or so in your package. I try to remove as many as possible. Anyhow, I do have more of these in my store together with a couple of different patterns. This one I've been using as kind of a flat thing for Leia to lay on. I have a little a footstool next to me, and then I put this one on top, and then she just lays on it, so she has something more softer to lay on. But yes, this kind of bag, they are not vinyl front because I don't like vinyl, but they're like, they have an inner side, the seams inside are nice, zipper, matching zipper, and then I just have a fabric on the outside. Those I still have in the store, so if you're looking for those kind of bags, they will be there. And the bags that will come out ASAP, as soon as I can seam them, are smaller notion bags. I really enjoyed picking out the fabrics and matching the zippers and everything, so hopefully you will enjoy them just as much as I do. But yeah, I think that was all. I don't have that much from from life. Well, I'm an auntie. That is one thing, but otherwise it's been life have just been sitting in here and watching YouTube and cross-stitching. But yes, I hope you will have an awesome week this week that is filled with stitching. I hope you have any fun projects to stitch on. I really would like to see what you're stitching on. It would be great. One of you sent me an image of her stitching. I loved it. It's gorgeous. Thank you. And I really like, oh, I want to stitch on something like that. It was a winter piece, I think. So I was a little bit like, winter maybe. I like winter. So if you want to, you have my email down below and everything. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you next week. Bye!